Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Junavadi Prasidya Dishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai 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 Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jai Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai, Ya Prabhupada Jai, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Welcome Amit, welcome Prakash, and welcome whoever else is listening to later on YouTube or any other channel or Facebook, quite possible. So let's see what we have tonight. We coming to text 7 of the 7th chapter, 7-7.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mata Parataram Natyat.
Nanyat.
Nanyat. Kinchid Asti Danya Jaya.
Dananchaya.
Anam Jaya. Mayi Sarvam Idam Protam. Sutre Mani Gana Iva.
What happened now? Okay.
Translation. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Purport. There is a common controversy over whether the supreme absolute truth is personal or impersonal. As far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the absolute truth is the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, and this is confirmed in every step. In this verse, in particular, it is stressed that the absolute truth is a person, that the personality of Godhead is the supreme absolute truth, is also that the personality of Godhead is the supreme absolute truth. It's also the affirmation of Brahma Samhita. Isvara Pamara Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha. That is, the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord.
Primeval.
Primeval Lord, the eraser of all pleasures, Govinda, and the internal form of complete bliss and knowledge. These authorities leave no doubt that the absolute truth is the supreme person, the cause of all causes. Impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of Vedic version giving in Svetsvaratara Upanishad.
Tato yad uttarantaram tad arupam ananmayam. Yad tad vitur amritas te bhuvanti te taradukam eva piyanti.
In the material world, Brahma, the primeval, right?
I think so.
Primeval living entity within the universe is understood to be supreme amongst the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contamination. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. The impersonalist puts more stress on the word arupam, but this arupam is not impersonal. It indicates the transcendental form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge, as described in the Brahma Samhita, quoted above. Other verses in the Svetasvatara Upanishad substantiate this as follows. I know that Supreme Personality Godhead is transcendental to all material conception of darkness. Only he who knows him can transcend the bonds of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that Supreme Person. There is no truth superior to there is no truth superior to that Supreme Person, because he is the supermost. He is smaller than the smallest, and he is greater than the greater. He is situated as a silent tree, and he illuminates the transcendental sky. And as a tree spreads its roots, he spreads his extensive energy. For these verses, one concludes that the supreme absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all-pervading by his multi-energies, both material and spiritual.
Thank you very much, Amit. Amaginati Mirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swabadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Zahagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Sabatutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padansa Hagana Lalita Shivishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tabda Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarupesa Kripasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Hare Krishna, Amrita Radhe Mataji, welcome, Hare Krishna. So we just discussing beautiful Bhagavad Gita verse 7.7. This seventh chapter is knowledge of the Absolute. So deeper knowledge. We're getting away from the sixth chapter of Dhyana Yoga, knowledge, the Yoga chapter. Now we're diving very deeper into Bhagavad Gita, and we're looking at knowledge of the Absolute, of Krishna. So here is the translation again. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. It's actually a very well-known verse. That example said pearls are strung on a thread. So if you look at our Tulsi Mala, it says a thread inside and there are many small pearls. Or if we ever come in the position of stringing our own chopper beads, sometimes it happens that the beads break and we can't get any other beads, and then we just have to string them again, each bead, and just a knot behind and then another bead. So like a necklace, like pearls. Vijay, welcome, Hare Krishna. Like pearls are strung on a thread. That's a very nice example. Because who is the thread? And who are the pearls? Krishna is the thread. And we are the pearls. So we are all resting on Krishna, on the absolute truth. Here Srila Prabhupada in his Purport, he immediately, the first thing he is commenting on is there's a controversy that sometimes some think the absolute truth is impersonal. And as Vaishnavas, as devotees, we understand Krishna to be the supreme personality of Godhead. Of course, Krishna is personal and impersonal simultaneously. But the impersonal is a feature of Krishna that needs to be understood. The feature of Krishna is his Brahman, his impersonal aspect. A feature or aspect of Krishna. Another aspect of Krishna or feature is the Supersoul, Paramatma. But the full knowledge about Krishna is Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And impersonalists, those mental speculators, first of all, they're hovering on the mental platform. So trying to understand Krishna by the mental capacity, but that's not possible because our senses are material. How can we understand the Supreme Spirit with material instruments? That's not possible. It's just like a scientist a doctor trying to find the soul with a blunt microscope and blunt material, eyes and senses. So our senses are very, very limited. Let's look at the eyes. They only have a certain range of light which we can see. We're coming in the infrared spectrum. We cannot see. Therefore, there are some special cameras or which can see the infrared spectrum. Night vision is another thing. At night, there's no light, we cannot see. But with special equipment, we can even see at night. But our senses in itself, they are very limited. A certain frequency of light we can see, and beyond that, we can't. The other creatures, animals, their spectrum of vision is greater. They can see in the frequency below or above our human vision. Or, for instance, a vulture. It's very well known, a vulture. He is miles up in the sky. But a vulture has such sharp vision, he can see a mouse on the ground. So we couldn't. We don't have this sharpness of vision. We don't have this definition in our eyes that we can see from a mile above. We can see something very small on the ground. But the vulture can do that. As every animal has a particular sense which is dominant. The dog, what's the dominant sense of a dog? It's the nose. The dog is always smelling. Always a nose on the ground, always smelling. So that's a predominant sense. The vulture, the eyes. The other animals, they can hear very well. Dogs can also hear. For us, for human ears, the high-pitched sound, the higher frequency, we cannot hear. But therefore, there is something like a dog whistle. You can call a dog with a whistle. You cannot hear anything. You're blowing and no sound. But the dogs, they can hear that high-frequency sound. And they're coming. My master is calling me. So these are just examples how limited our senses are, how limited are the eyes, how limited are our sense of hearing, our sense of touch. Also, the sense of touch is quite grows. A finer touch we cannot feel. So how can we, with such limited senses, perceive the unlimited Krishna? It is not possible. So the impersonalists are trying with their material senses and their mind, they're trying to understand God. They're trying to perceive Krishna, but that's a hopeless endeavor. So how is Krishna perceived? And Krishna can be perceived by revelation. It's a very different concept, not known to the impersonalists. They're trying to understand with their mind, with their intellect, with their intelligence. They're just skimming the words of the Bhagavad Gita and construe different meanings and trying to understand with his material mind what it could mean possibly. Who is Krishna? What is Krishna? And they're coming to the conclusion Krishna is impersonal. It's an energy. Krishna is an energy. But of course, we're speaking of an energy. There must also be a source of that energy. That's a logical conclusion. That's a logic. If we're speaking about the energy, like now it's getting a bit colder, and we're putting on the heating soon. So we feel the energy, the heat in the room. But there must be a source of that heat. Yes, it's a radiator, it's a stove, whichever heating system we have. So any energy has a source. And Srila Prabhupada calls it the energetic. Energy and energetic. Energetic means that source where the energy is coming from. We can perceive the sunlight. That's the energy coming in through our window or outside, and we can see, we feel its warmth. So if there's sunlight and there's sunshine, there must also be the source, the energetic, which is the sun planet. But these are very, very logical analysis to understand by revelation. So we could ask, how is that revelation taking place? If Krishna is pleased with the devotee, and the spiritual master is pleased, they will bestow their mercy on that particular devotee. And then through the heart, the revelation takes place. So we could ask, how is that? Welcome, Jayanti Bhai. How is that through the heart revelation takes place? There are many things happening through the heart. Through the heart, it means we're feeling. All our feelings are not in the mind, really. That's our thought, our rational faculties. But feeling, if we feel something, we're feeling in the heart, we're feeling in the chest. That's a feeling, particular. We're not speaking about sensory signals when we burn our fingers, we don't feel that in the heart. Of course, it also is registered in the mind, but we feel it very much on our fingers. But if we say to someone, I love you, and we're feeling that love, whether we feel it, we don't feel it in the fingers, in the legs, in the feet. No, we feel it in the region of the heart. So through the heart, these feelings are transmitted. So Krishna using that also through the heart is not difficult for him, because Krishna is in the heart. He's in the heart of every living entity, as a supersoul, as Paramatma. Who would have thought? Krishna is so close to us. We're thinking Krishna, oh Krishna, he was present before Arjuna on the battlefield, but Krishna, I cannot perceive Krishna. Krishna seems to be so far away. He is not. He's right in our heart, and he explains, I am Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. Surit is a friend. a well-wisher. Sarva is all Bhutanam, living entities. So Krishna says, I am the well-wisher of every living entity. Krishna is not discriminating. I like this living entity and I don't like this. Even the demons. Krishna is a well-wisher. He may kill them, but that's for their ultimate good. Because if Krishna personally kills a demon, he gets delivered and he gets transported into his effulgence in the Brahmajyoti, liberated, because Krishna touched him. So many things. So impersonalists say are not in contact with their heart. Their mind is very prevalent. The mind, the intellect, the intelligence, they're trying to understand by analyzing. They're trying to find out what is spiritual by neti process. Neti means not this, not that, not this, not that. Empirical study of the universe. To find out something, is that the absolute? And then to find out, no, not this. And something else, no, not this, not this, not that. And they never come to Krishna. By elimination of what is not Krishna. So trying to find Krishna. Welcome back, Amrita Radhamadaji. So, the devotee, Bhakti yoga. Bhakti means devotion. Where is devotion? Not in the mind. There may be knowledge. So much knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita. Yes, that's in the mind. But knowledge alone, Srila Prabhupada said, book knowledge is useless. So knowledge needs to be realized. How to realize the knowledge? We're hearing every Wednesday, we're reading a verse in Bhagavad Gita. So much knowledge. Now tonight we're hearing said, it's just, the situation is just like pearls on a string. Krishna says, there is no truth higher than me. Everything rests upon me, like pearls on a string. Pearls on a string, they're resting on the string. So everything rests on Krishna. Everything in this universe and in all the universes. After all, Krishna is expanding himself into every universe. And first of all, Krishna as Karanataka Vishnu. He breathes out through his nostrils and through his pores, bodily pores, universes coming out of his body, his gigantic body, Mahavishnu, or Karanataka. Karana means there's an ocean, it's a causal ocean, like we hear in Brahma Samhita, Sarva Karana Karanam, same word, Karana. Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. So this Karanataka Vishnu or Mahavishnu, Maha is a big Vishnu. He rests on the causal ocean. And as in Brahma Samhita, Krishna, Lord Brahma says, you, my dear Lord Krishna, you are the cause of all causes. Everything has a cause. But you are the final cause. There is no cause anymore. Sometimes people ask, okay, if God made everything, who made God? Well, nobody made God. He always existed. It's beyond our logic. He is the cause of everything. There it ends. There it ends. Eternal. But we are also eternal. We are small eternals. He is big eternal. Full of knowledge. We are also full of knowledge. Although that's covered by ignorance. That knowledge which is covered by ignorance, that's in the heart. And if that ignorance is removed by Krishna's mercy, We cannot. We can endeavor to remove this ignorance, tamagun. We can endeavor by surrendering to the spiritual master and Krishna, and by chanting Hare Krishna, this ignorance, not in a mechanical way. It has to be removed in a mechanic. No, it doesn't work like that. If the spiritual master in Krishna is pleased, then as we chanting each Wednesday, Om Ajnana Timirandasya. So Ajnana, Jnana is knowledge, Ajnana is ignorance. With the torchlight of knowledge, of transcendental knowledge, all ignorance is destroyed. So Krishna is right in the heart of every living entity. More than that, he's in every, he expanding himself from that huge Mahavishnu into the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. That's the middle Vishnu. Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. He's resting on the Garbhodaka ocean, the milk ocean. And he enters into each and every universe. Each and every universe. And sometimes, which I mentioned that some time ago, when there is trouble in the universe and the demigods, the devas approaching Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma with the devas are going on the shore of the milk ocean, the chanting the Purusha Shukta to please the Lord. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasrakshat Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vistvat, and so on. The chanting is ancient prayer from the Rig Veda. And they cannot see the Lord, but the sound transmit from that Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is received by Lord Brahma, because Lord Brahma is highly qualified. It's the most pious living entity in the universe. And then that transmitted message is then according to, yes, I will come, I will incarnate, and I will relieve you of your suffering. I will protect my devotees and destroy the miscreants. What's the verse? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma samspadanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Every I come, Krishna says, to protect my devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. The real purpose of the Lord is, of course, to protect his devotees, because miscreants or demonic elements, they can easily be taken care of by the laws of material nature, by Krishna's agencies, by the devas. Krishna doesn't need to come personally. He would not need to come personally to inspire his devotees, but because devotees are hankering for the association of the Lord and they want to see their most worshipable Lord, so Krishna, he feels very much drawn to appearing to please the devotees. That's a real reason, because Krishna says, the devotees are in my heart and I am in their hearts. It's not just sometimes at the beginning when someone takes into some religion, then they think it's just a one-way system. They pray to God. A one-way system. But Krishna is not like that. He's reciprocating. He's reciprocating in so many ways. And if devotees have ever experienced the reciprocation of Krishna, they treasure that in their heart. I have explained a beautiful story many times. You may remember, you may not. When I was in Vrindavan, that's really a long time ago. I always stood in my favorite place to the left of Radha Shyama Sundar's altar. That was my place. I made sure I get a front seat, so to speak, right on the corner, on the left corner, touching the barrier, the wall, the little fence there, resting my hands perhaps on it. So from that vantage point, I could see Srimati Radharani smiling beautifully, mercifully, compassionately, and Shyamasundar also. And if I looked a little bit left, I could also see Krishna and Balaram. So that was my favorite place. And purposefully, I went there in the evening aarti, and after aarti, the pujaris, so many garlands had been given to the deities. And outside, like every temple, particular, if you have been in Vrindavan and I forgot the name. What's that temple? Where's Amrita Radha Mataji, when the opening the curtain only for a very short time.
Are you talking about Banke Bihari temple?
Banke Bihari, yes. So Banke Bihari, there are so many flower sellers outside. One after another and after another. There's a basket in front of them and they're selling garlands. So for some rupees you buy a garland and then you give that garland to the puchari and you put it around the neck of the deities and like that. So Krishna Balaram Mandir as well. Not so many flower sellers, I don't think so. But one can purchase garlands also and give to the puchari. So at the end of the evening, there are dozens and dozens, if not 100 garlands there. Beautiful garlands. So what is the puchari doing? He's giving them out. He's giving them out to devotees. And I always got a garland. I wanted a garland. That's one of the reasons I came and stood there right in front of it. I don't know when it started. Just by chance, I got the garland. So next evening I went there again. I got the garland. I thought, okay, I stand at this space and place, I'll get the garland. And without fail, the puchari gave me a garland. Every day. So, but there are many garlands. So one day I thought, of course, flowers are given out garlands, and there is also Srimati Radharani. She's holding one flower bouquet with some very dedicated devotees, some Mataji's. They're making a bouquet, a little bunch of flowers bound together, and she's holding that bouquet. Why she's holding that bouquet? Because she's giving it to Krishna. Otherwise, she has no interest. She's giving everything to Krishna. So that bouquet of flowers. So that was at the very end, when all the garlands have been distributed, then the puchari took that bouquet because flowers are not kept overnight around the neck of the deities. In fact, it is considered to be an offense to keep the flowers overnight. So the altar is always cleared of flowers. Next day, fresh flowers. So the puchari, at the end, when all garlands had been distributed, he took that bouquet and he threw it in the crowd. And everybody dived and jumped to get that bouquet. Someone got it. And sometimes if he wasn't careful, then everybody dashed and it was ripped into pieces, because that is special Maha Prasadam. More special than the garlands. Because there are many garlands, but there's only one bouquet. Radharani is holding that bouquet personally. Going back in time, when I first came to the temple in Germany somewhere around 75, maybe. It's a long time back. But I remember, as if it was yesterday, I was a new devotee. And the head puchari, Astarata, one day he asked me, can you pick some lily of the valley flowers behind the castle? There is some patch. You will see they're growing there. These white flowers are smelling ever so sweet, so strongly. Pick something, a bunch of them for Radharani. Oh, that was my first service ever. That was my entrance into devotional service. The door was opened and very willfully or dutifully. I didn't really understand much. But because he asked me, so I picked a bunch of flowers. And the next morning, Srimati Radharani held that bouquet with the flowers I picked in her hand. Very wonderful deities, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan. Small, not like Radha Shyama Sundar in Krishna Balaram temple. No, small deities. Marble, beautiful marble, small marble deities. So Radharani had that bouquet in her hand. That was my entry ticket into Krishna consciousness. I'm convinced of that. That was the first devotional service I did. Besides reading Bhagavad Gita earlier on. But the first practical service to the deities, yes, for certainly. So Srimati Radharani and the Krishna Balaram Mandir, she had also that bouquet, and that was thrown into the crowd. One bouquet a day in the evening. And I had some desire. I wish I could one day get that bouquet. And I thought in a silly and stupid way, let's see if Srimati Radharani is reciprocating with my desire. Nothing wrong about that desire of wanting Srimati Radharani's Maha Prasadam bouquet. Nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to test. I wanted to experience. I have that desire. I prayed. And I wondered if I could get that bouquet. Because I got the garland every night. So maybe I'm eligible of getting one, just once. Once that bouquet. It's not that I would put it on my head and smell it and I'll probably give it to someone else. And when the pujaris threw the bouquet every night, everybody jumped. And it has to be said, I'm a very bad catcher. It goes through I can jump, yes. But catching something, even catching a ball, I'm not very successful. So that night, and with my prayers and asking Srimati Radharani, please, can I have your bouquet just once? So I jumped, like everybody else jumped. And I wasn't even in the middle. I was at the side, the left side of the... Maybe I moved a little bit more towards the middle. Normally the pujaris threw it in the middle. So I jumped, and to my great surprise, I had the bouquet right in my hand. I couldn't believe it. I had the bouquet. I mean, I didn't see where it's been thrown. I just jumped and grabbed into the air. And the bouquet was in my hands. In my hand. Right hand. I caught it. Then everybody tried to snatch some flowers from me. I kept it high up. I didn't let anybody. So that is a reciprocation. So Krishna reciprocates with his devotees, and Srimati Radharani is so merciful. I felt actually very bad afterwards that I had any doubt that Srimati Radharani would reciprocate with my desire. I shouldn't have had any doubt. I shouldn't have tested it. Just a desire. And then, anyway, that was that little story. Srimati Radharani's bouquet. And in so many other ways, many devotees have experience of how Krishna is reciprocating in in a transcendental way, not with logic and with our mind. No, it's beyond that. So if Krishna can reciprocate, in particular the deities, some deities are very reciprocal, more than others. This is very well known. So some deities are very much reciprocating with the desires of the devotees, even if it's some material desires or material tainted desires, or to speak of spiritual desires. So if you ever come in front of Sri Nitai Satchisundas, they're also very much reciprocating with the devotees. But you have to come. Have to come and ask. And then the deities will reciprocate. But if you don't come, then how can you? If I wouldn't have come and if I wouldn't have jumped for the bouquet, if I wouldn't have had the desire, then it would have passed me by. So I did jump. But then I didn't jump anymore. I was very happy with just once getting the bouquet. And it wasn't even about the bouquet. It was about Srimati Radharani reciprocating with my desire deep in my heart. That what was it about, not the bouquet. I gave it away, the bouquet, eventually, to someone else, to get also some mercy from Srimati Radharani. We devotees, as devotees, we don't want to keep some mercy for ourselves. That's not Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means we distributing the mercy. Srila Prabhupada, there's a very nice story. It was in Vrindavan, at Govardhan, on the feet of Govardhan Hill, the Parigram, sacred Govardhan, which Krishna lifted with the little finger of his left hand for 7 days, like an umbrella, like a mushroom. So then there was some prasadam being served, chapatis, and there were some dogs were making a lot of noise, because they were hungry. They wanted some prasadam. And one devotee, he took some stones and he chased away the dogs. And Srila Prabhupada said, stop that. Stop that. In Vrindavan, you never know with who you're dealing. Who are these dogs? You don't know. The great sages in disguise. So Srila Prabhupada took chapatis from his own plate and he made pieces and he fed his chapatis to the dogs. And sure enough, the dogs were satisfied. They stopped barking. Srila Prabhupada made a point. Prasadam distribution is so important. So important. On another occasion, he really reinforced that. He said there must always be some prasadam for any guests coming. Always. There is no excuse, oh, we didn't have enough money, we didn't cook enough, or it has finished, or no. Krishna will provide in miraculous ways. Always some prasadam must be said to give to anybody who comes in front of the Lord. So how important that prasadam is. Another time with Harisori, he had his parents coming for the first time. And he showed them around. Srila Prabhupada was not there yet. He came a bit later. He had been out on some preaching engagement. So the parents were, his mother was quite pious and spiritual inclined. So he spoke to them, he showed them around. And then he wanted to give them some prasadam, but there was no prasadam. It was all finished. So what could he do? And then he saw them out, and just on the way out, they met Srila Prabhupada briefly. So later on, when Srila Prabhupada was in his room, we asked for Harisori. It came, so he asked him, how did it go? I said, oh yes, nice. My mother was much impressed and she really liked it. It was important because if the parents of devotees were satisfied, then not all parents were satisfied. Some parents, they wanted to get their children back home. They thought that I'm losing my children to a sect, to Krishna. So, but she said my mother was appreciative. So next question Srila Prabhupada asked, did they get prasadam? So Arisauri said there was nothing left. No, and Srila Prabhupada was kind of signaling, oh, what's the use? He didn't say that. But Arisauri explained, it was just like his expression was, they didn't get prasadam, what's the use? So Srila Prabhupada, this was very important. Everybody who comes to the temple must get prasadam. There must always be something there. So that's a mercy, reciprocation. So Krishna reveals himself from within the heart. And later on also, when we are a bit more advanced in our Krishna consciousness, we spoke quite at length over several weeks how Krishna will reveal in due course of time what is our Sthai Baba. Amrita Mataji will know that term, our predominant emotion with Krishna, meaning really in what rasa does Krishna want us to reciprocate with him, to serve him, in what mood? Of course, at the beginning of our Krishna conscious journey, we don't think about these things, and we don't need to think about these things. All what we need to think about is we have to chant our rounds and to follow the four principles, and to read and to learn, and to hear and hear and hear and hear. That we need to be concerned. But later on, we may wonder, what is my relationship with Krishna? Because in so many verses, in so many purports, Srila Prabhupada speaks about Nitya Krishna Das. Chivara Swarupa Hoya Nityara Krishna Das. The eternal position of the Jiva, us as spirit soul, is Nitya Krishna Das, being eternal servant of Krishna. If we realize that we are actually eternal servant of Krishna, that's a very advanced stage of Krishna consciousness. Because at the beginning, we don't, maybe we want to serve Krishna, but we are servants of so many other things. We are servants of this material Maya. So many ways, to various degrees. We're just coming from the material world where we have been servants of Maya 100%. Nothing else. We didn't know nothing about Krishna. So now we suddenly learning that we are actually in our constitutional position, constitution like American Constitution, unwritten English Constitution, that's the rules, the ground rules a society functions. So the ground rules are Nitya Krishna Das, being eternally a servant of Krishna. So we may intellectually, we hear that and we have spoken about it many times. Nitya Krishna Das. Nitya means eternal. Krishna is Krishna. Das is servant. Eternal servant of Krishna. That is actually our real position by constitution. Everything else is just an aberration. We're serving so many masters in this world. And we're serving our senses, first of all. When the eyes want satisfaction, they're screaming. I want satisfaction, go somewhere where I can see some beautiful shapes and forms. The tongue is very strong. We praying. Lobomoise durmati. The tongue is so strong. Please, Krishna, help us by accepting this prasadam that we can control the tongue. In fact, we can. The tongue is uncontrollable. A materialistic person, they cannot control their tongue. Whatever they want to see, they want to taste, a variety of tastes. The tongue is not giving them any peace. Taste this, taste that. They're even tasting while they're cooking. As devotees, we don't do that, because Krishna is the first taster. Of course, sometimes someone may ask, now how is it with the salt? If I don't taste, it may be oversalted or undersalted. No, generally it will work out. I thought that too, long time ago. But then I learned you just put a reasonable amount of salt in, rather less. We can always add some salt later if needed. But we don't taste the food while cooking, because the food is meant for Krishna. It's a devotional offering. It's like people going into the mosque and temple and gurdwara and church. And so it's a devotional process, a religious process, that taking communion in the Catholic faith. They get this bread, because of the bread and wine being broken in memory of Jesus. So we get this wonderful prasadam, more than just some piece of bread. Not bread, really. It's, I don't know the word, obladen, or this kind of very thin, very wafer out of grain, round wafer, which is offered to Jesus Christ, spiritualized, in the same way as we offer our food, but we don't have just a wafer of some bread. We have a wonderful feast. So that's our meditation, how to satisfy Krishna. So back to our Swarup, our spiritual form. What is our leaning? It will be revealed through the heart in due course of time. Srila Prabhupada explains like that. There's no question about it. There's no doubt about it. We just follow the program Srila Prabhupada has designed, and in due course of time, when we are ready, it's just like a child, boy or girl. They're very innocent when they're young, until they come to the stage of puberty. Then they're thinking of the opposite sex in a sexual way. Before that, before puberty, the girls and boys are they're just friends. There is no sexual thought or feeling, nothing of that sort. They're very innocent in that way. But then in due course of time, then everything changes due to hormones and so on. And boys becoming conscious of girls and girls becoming conscious of boys. And there's some attractions there and all of that. And we know all that. So that comes in due course of time. You cannot force it prematurely. When they come into that ripe stage of age, then it comes. So it's the same in our devotional service. If we mature in devotional service, artificially we cannot. Oh, what is my Swarup? What is my Swarup? What's my Sthai Baba? I need to find out. That will not be successful. We can't find out in that way. It has to be revealed when we are ready to receive it. So all that comes from within the heart, when Krishna is pleased. Going back to the purport. Sometimes impersonalists, they're citing various verses from the Upanishads, said God has no form. Welcome back, Amrita Radhimataji. The internet is very temperamental today.
Yes, Prabhu, a lot of chaos also at home. That is the main reason.
In and out and in and out. So, now I lost my thread. What I just talked? Someone help me.
You were talking about teenagers and hormone changes.
And after that? That was before you left. Amit, what I talked about. Just now.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhu, last I remember you talking about the teenagers and hormone changes. And then you didn't say much after that. So maybe just carry on from there.
Okay. No, I must have said something else. Doesn't matter. I said back to Srila Prabhupada's purport that Krishna is a person. Oh yeah, we talked about the Upanishads. They say Krishna has no form. Some Upanishads. And the impersonalists say interpreting, I always knew it, Krishna is formless. So the highest realization is Brahman, the impersonal. There's nothing beyond the impersonal. They think like that. But actually, Srila Prabhupada told us what it means when the Upanishads are saying the Lord has no form. They're actually saying the Lord has no material form. Very important. Krishna has no material form, but he has a spiritual form. Now we may be puzzled. What is material form? What is spiritual form? Because all what we know is material form. All millions of lifetimes we have only experienced material form with our eyes. Material form. But Krishna has a spiritual form, a spiritual body. We're reading it all the time. Krishna has a transcendental body. What does that mean? Krishna has a body, but it's not composed like our body. And therefore we say also Krishna has a human-like body. We never say Krishna has a human body. But people with lesser understanding and intelligence, they cannot understand that. Because all in their experience, all what they know is a material body. What does it mean to have a spiritual body? A spiritual body means, according to Shastra, it's made out of Satchit Ananda. Vigraha means form. Krishna is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Sat, eternal. He has an eternal body. Chit, full of knowledge, and Ananda, full of transcendental bliss. That's Krishna's body, knowledge, eternal knowledge and bliss. We also have such a body, but we have forgotten about that body long time ago. Because by association with this material energy, all what we conceiving of is this material body of flesh and bones and pus and so many substances. This we can conceive of, and we think this is all in all. There's nothing beyond. No, there is something beyond. The spiritual body. The spiritual body works in very miraculous ways. The spiritual body can expand, contract. Each part of Krishna's spiritual body can perform the activities of any other part. What does that mean? Krishna can eat with his eyes. We cannot eat with our eyes. Krishna can eat with his eyes. Isn't that beautiful? When Krishna looks at the offering we offer to him, he just glances over the offering. That is his eating, that is his tasting. Krishna can eat with his ears. How does that work? Krishna hears the prayers of the devotee. Namo Mahavedanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaya Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Krishna Namaha Namo Brahmana Devako, and so on. Krishna hears the prayers full of devotion. He eats with his ears. He can, of course, also eat with his hand. But we rarely can see that. And if we one day we can see Krishna eating with his hand, then of course we can't, because Krishna is eating in private. But if we one day the plate is empty, Krishna has eaten, then our life is successful. Back home to Godhead. Very bon. So that is a transcendental body. The impersonalists, they cannot explain. How is it that Krishna, as a young 5-year-old boy, he's lifting Govardhan Hill? They cannot make any sense of that. They don't believe in transcendental spiritual body. They only believe in material things and intellect and intelligence and the mental capacity to speculate, to create so many theories. That's all what they can. So when they hear Krishna is lifting Govardhan Hill for 7 days and 7 nights with the left hand on the little finger, then the only conclusion they can come to is that these are fairy tales. These are stories, children's stories almost. As if Vyasadeva, the great sage who compiled all the Vedas and the Vedanta Sutra, which impersonalists very much like the Vedanta Sutra, because it gives them, because it's so condensed in aphorisms that it gives a wide range of possibilities for intellectual interpretation and word jugglery and grammatical interpretation and so on. So that's alike. But that same Vyasadeva, who has written down these Vedanta Sutras, he would suddenly write stories, children's stories, of a young boy in bluish color racing a hill for 7 days and 7 nights, and of course not. If you accept Vyasadeva writing the Vedanta Sutras down, then you have to also accept Krishna. After all, Vyasadeva, he wrote a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which is very abstract Vedanta Sutras, many sutras, in very cryptic form. So these are transcendental pastimes. One has to be a devotee. So Vyasadeva, he wrote a commentary on these Vedanta Sutras, which is our Srimad Bhagavatam. In his ripe age, he has been instructed by his spiritual master. You have done all the Vedas and so many things now. Write the Srimad Bhagavatam, this supremely purest of purest Purana history, because there is no material contamination at all. There is not any karma kanda, any fruitive activities described. No, it's all full from beginning to end with transcendental pastimes of the Lord. That's the Srimad Bhagavatam, the commentary. Naturally, if we have a commentary from the author, then the commentary should be consulted. But impersonalists say they cannot do anything with the Srimad Bhagavatam. They don't understand nothing. But then Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna, I explaining these signs of Bhagavad Gita to you because you are my devotee and my friend. And Srila Prabhupada explains to us, unless one is a devotee, he has no entrance into the mysteries of Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita is not just a book of wisdom and knowledge. For the non-devotees, they see it like that. It's a book of wisdom. There is some nice philosophical points and talks about this and about the soul and eternal. And so from the outside, they can taste the little crumbs of the Bhagavad Gita. But that's all. But they don't have any entrance into the mysteries of Bhagavad Gita. There's so many mysteries. So for 50 years, I have been reading Bhagavad Gita regularly. And still there are mysteries. Still new revelations coming on a daily basis almost. New insights, new revelations. Deeper and deeper and deeper. It's not like someone, I have given a gentleman Bhagavad Gita and I ask him, so have you read it? Yes. Are you still reading it? No, I read it. I already read it. Just like a novel. You have a novel, you read it. Hardly ever someone says, oh, this novel is so nice, I read it twice. Okay, perhaps twice. But not for 50 years. If someone is reading the same novel for 50 years, everybody thinks he's crazy, man. But we're reading Bhagavad Gita for 50 years, and Srimad Bhagavatam, because there are always new revelations. In the heart, revelations. That's very important in a devotee's life, to be open for revelations, to ask Krishna, please reveal yourself. Reveal yourself in the pages of Bhagavad Gita. Reveal yourself in this purest of purest mantras, the Maha Mantra. Reveal yourself. I want to know you more and more, and not only know you, I want to learn to love you. We want to, after all, that's the goal, Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema, love of Krishna, that's the goal. So, we're asking Krishna, I want to know you, I want to love you more and more. And then Krishna, if he sees the devotion of the devotee, he reveals himself more and more, and he reveals everything, and he reveals how he wants to relate to us. Does he want to relate to us in which rasa? Krishna will reveal that in due course of time when we are mature enough. So all this is there. So Krishna said to Arjuna, I'm speaking this science of Bhagavad Gita because you are my devotee and my friend. Devotee is clear. Arjuna is a devotee. He's devoted. He's devoted to Krishna. When did he become devoted to Krishna? Amit. When did Arjuna become a devotee of Krishna? He was a friend all the way along. But at one point, he became a devotee. He became devoted to Krishna. On which point in Bhagavad Gita Arjuna becomes a devotee, surrenders to Krishna? Amit.
I think it's when Krishna showed him his universal form.
No, much before that.
Oh, okay.
Already in the second chapter, Amrita Radhe, when did Arjuna become a devotee? Amrita Radhe. Hare Krishna. Vijay. When did Arjuna become a devotee? Second chapter. Vijay, are you there? Yep. We can't hear you. Your microphone is on, but we cannot hear you. You have some issues? Maybe. Amrita Radhe Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu. When Arjuna says that Shishyaste Mam, basically I am now your surrendered disciple. Please tell me what to do. That verse.
Yes.
I think it's in chapter 2, I
Yes.
think.
Karpanya dosha pahatasva pava. Yes, that verse. Then Arjuna surrenders. So Krishna says, I explained this Bhagavad Gita to you because you are my devotee and my friend. Okay, devotee. He became a devotee in the second chapter. He surrendered to Krishna. And a friend. So what does that mean? Does it mean Sakya Ras? Well, it also means that because Arjuna is in Sakya Ras. He's a friend of Krishna and a devotee. But I came across a purport. Srila Prabhupada said, anybody who offers some devotional service to Krishna is a friend. Krishna accepts him as a friend. Oh, that's a nice explanation. So by reading Bhagavad Gita, we're learning to know Krishna more and more and more. We're exploring his personality. We're exploring what Krishna likes, his likes, his so many things about Krishna. The pure devotee reveals it to us. Friend means anybody who offers some service to Krishna. Krishna accepts him as his friend. So we need to be a devotee and a friend to Krishna. That means we need to be surrendered to Krishna through the spiritual master. And we need to offer some service to Krishna to be accepted as a friend. And then the mysteries of Bhagavad Gita will be revealed to us.
So I heard the question. The question was, what
Okay.
have I done? Is it? Yeah. So the mood. What I picked up on is the mood in which you serve Krishna.
Didn't
so,
get that. Say that again.
So the mood in which you serve Krishna.
The mood. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I picked up on.
Oh, now the microphone is extremely clear.
Is it? Yeah, because I've put it right.
In front of you. Yes,
yeah,
good.
Yeah. Right.
So the mood of serving Krishna. Okay. What about?
Yeah. So at the beginning, when you're, maybe you've been in the material world for so long, and you start Krishna consciousness, it's kind of just like a learning process. You kind of do the chanting. You don't really ask the question about, you might not think about it. How am I going to serve Krishna? What do you ultimately? What's this all for? What's the goal? What does it lead to? So you don't think about that. You get on with finding out more about the science behind it. So that's what I've realized that. But then there comes a point where you maybe you veer off and you ask things which are not written down, which come into your mind. I don't know how they get there, but so the other question I wanted to ask is about free will, because Some non-devotees or devotees who have not so advanced, they might ask about free will,
Okay.
the concept of love. So it seems to me a bit black and white. And when they say that you either serve Krishna and love him as a marginal energy in the spiritual realm, or you have to suffer in the material realm. So somebody put forward a kind of a comment saying that if you truly kind of love somebody and they don't want to be with you, you just let them go and they don't need to suffer. So if they don't want to be with you, or they don't love you, you just let them go, but you don't need to make them suffer. So that's a higher concept of love. Is that whatever they do to you, you don't need any kind of what's the word? There's no detrimental effect on them leaving you. They can forget about you and still not suffer. So that's the question about why if we are able to forget about Krishna, so we decide to forget about Krishna, then why doesn't it just let that situation prevail and not let us suffer? We can come to somewhere else, but not have the suffering bit.
Okay, there was a very interesting advertisement many years ago on the billboard. It went something like that. If you love someone but they want to go, don't force them to stay. Let them go, and if they come back out of their own accord, that is love. So Krishna is just like that. It's not that if someone goes and wants to forget Krishna, he's out of Krishna's control. He is not. Because even those souls who are in the material world, that's also under Krishna's control. All the forgetful souls who are in this material world, like we are here. Of course, we're trying to remember Krishna and going back, but all forgetful souls in the material world, they're not out of Krishna's control. They're not out of Krishna's creation. In fact, he has created a space for the forgetful souls. Let's take an example. The criminals who misbehaving in society, who not playing by the rules, who harming others, cheating others, and so many things. They have also a place, which is a prison house. But the prison house is arranged by the government. They're getting their food there, they have security there, they can sleep there, they can drink and eat, and even exercise, and in some prisons they even can educate themselves and get some qualifications and all of that. So the prison, just because they have been criminal, it's still taken care of by the government. The government invests a lot of money in the prison system. So it's the same here with us. We are not out of control of Krishna. The material world is specially arranged in such a way that it's like a prison house to reform us, to inspire us voluntarily to turn back to Krishna and be happy. Of course, the prison house, the freedoms are restricted there, and people can only do certain things and not others. So in this material world, our freedom is restricted. While if we turn to Krishna and come to the spiritual world, our freedom is unlimited. Everybody wants freedom. In the spiritual world, there's unlimited freedom. We are not controlled by the modes anymore. The modes are very restrictive to us. We have to act according to the mode. If we, under the influence of Rajagun, passions, and we have to act in a passionate way, running around and doing so many things and this and that. If we are under the mode of tamagun, of ignorance, then we are forced to take to addictions and drugs and alcohol and overly sleep and uncleanliness. That's going along with that mode of tamagun. So, but if we turn to Krishna, we're becoming completely free from these modes. So, back to your question, Vijay. Krishna, let us go if we want to enjoy in this material world. Krishna has created this material world specially for us. Okay, so go, enjoy. When you have enough, you come back to me. It's just like when I was a small child. My parents had created a sandbox. It's very rare nowadays because the youngsters are just hanging on computer games and so on. So there was no TV, there was no mobile, there was no computers, nothing. So they had put a sandbox and so, okay, you play in the sand. And we played our fantasy. We built cities, we built tunnels, and we were kings, and we were all of that. And when it was time for lunch, mother called us, and then we forgot about it all. We left it all behind. Okay, now it's lunchtime. So it's the same with when we have enough of this material world. We may be in goodness, we may do some good action, some pious action, that's still, even with pious action, we have to come back. We're not going, pious action and good action will not guarantee we don't take any birth again. No, we take birth again. In a nice family, in a nice situation, but birth and death is not nice. So that is a risk. So Krishna let us go, but he makes provisions for us. Does that answer at least partly your question?
Yeah, I understand. It's I understand the sentiment behind it. Yeah. So yeah, I think you come to a certain realization because sometimes the super soul puts it there, or it gets there. So then you see things in the lens comes a bit more into focus a bit.
Yes.
So that's what I realized, and yeah. So yeah, I kind of I understand all the other people who talk about who may come from different kinds of philosophies or different kinds of views or points, but then ultimately, even us, the material energy, the material expansion, that's not permanent. It's going to end sometime. So we're in between. The marginal energy is in between. So we have to go. We'll have to go somewhere. So if there's only the internal energy and the external energy is gone, that means ultimately there's only one place to go.
Yes, that's a nice realization here. We're increasing to taking shelter under the internal energy of Krishna. There's only one way to go. One way to go. We're not going backwards. We're not. Once we have taken shelter of Krishna and his internal energies, and we have lost all taste of this material world.